Thank you for joining me today on Las Vegas Veteran channel. I'm so glad that you could join me again today. It's the third installment that I'm doing today. This is Wednesday. Don't ask me what day of the month it is. I'm not really sure, but when you're retired and you really don't care anyway. Okay, so but once again, thanks for joining me. Now, when we left off on the second video, I was talking about the late 50s and what was going on in the world during that time. And I'd like to pick up from that and maybe go into the early 60s. We talked about some news items. Now, I don't want to do very many events of that time in the news because there's a lot of negative in the news, even today. Back in those days, there was a lot of negative in the news at that time too. So I don't know why, but that's just the way it has been through the decades. Ever since I can remember, the news was always devastating. And the more devastating it was, the more people watched. So go figure, huh? Anyway, this channel's not that way. I am trying to get away from all the negativity of the day, and let's get on with just going into the positivity and trying to have some fun and forget the days and forget today that's dominated by bad news. Okay, so let's go on. So let's start. Let's see. We'll go with 1959, shall we? Why not? We'll start with 59. In 1959, Xerox made the first photocopier and put it on the market. So yes, 1959 Xerox. Excuse me. Like I said, it's very dry here in Las Vegas. 1959, American airline launches the jet age with the first transcontinental flight with a Boeing 707. 1959, Albert Sabin develops a live virus polio vaccine. 1959. So that helped an awful lot of people. Then we'll go into the 60s. For those times, the first televised presidential debate between Nixon and Kennedy was in 1960. 1961, the Peace Corps was established by President Kennedy. First man in space was a Soviet named Yuri Gagarin. Beats us by 1 month. 1 month. 1962, I think it was Alan Shepard that went the next month. Alan Shepard was the first American in outer space for 1961. 1962, John Glenn orbits the Earth 3 times. So he was the first American that got into that little tiny capsule. And I get claustrophobia every time I think about it. But he got into that little tiny capsule and he went into space and went around 3 times. Man, that guy had a lot of class and he had a lot of courage. And he must have really, really desired to do it. I could never do it. I'll be honest with you. I could never do it. Also, 1962, Walmart opened its first store in Bentonville, Arkansas. So Walmart started it all off in 1962. 63, the Beatles released their first album, entitled, what do you think it was entitled? Give up? Please, Please Me. Also in 1963, the first woman in space was a Russian, again. This time a female, first female, Valentina Tereshkova. I probably tore up that name, but she was the first woman, Soviet woman in 1963. So I'm not going to cover too much more news. There was a lot of bad news during those years, and I do not want to jump into those things. So why don't we just move on into, say, songs. Okay, let's start off 1959 again. First one that comes up is What I Say by Ray Charles. Fantastic singer. You know, he was blind, but he was a fantastic performer. He was a great pianist and a great artist and singer. What I Say. Love that song. Love that. Number 2, I Only Have Eyes for You. Remember it very well, by the Flamingos. I don't know if you recall it, but that was another fantastic. All these are very, very fantastic songs that I remember. And of course, a lot of people, I would say, born past 1980, probably have never heard these songs. I don't know. Maybe you have. So then another great song, Mac the Knife by Bobby Darin. What can I say? The guy's gone now. Rest in peace. But Bobby, that was a wonderful song. Mac the Knife. The Drifters, number 4. There Goes My Baby. There Goes My Baby. Number 4. Number 5, I'm not familiar with. I imagine I would if I heard it. You probably know it well. Shout. Shout by the Isley Brothers. I don't know. I probably heard that song, and you probably have too, and you're probably saying, what's the matter with you? You don't remember that song? No, I don't. I'm sorry. But if you played it for me, let me know how I can hear it, or just maybe I'll go online and try to find it, and I'll probably go, you know what? I've heard that song 1,000 times before. I don't know. This one I've heard 1,000, maybe more. Kansas City by Wilbert Harrison. Didn't know who brought it out first. A lot of people have sang Kansas City. But in 1959, it was released by Wilbert Harrison. Another fantastic song. I know you probably remember this. If you're my age, you can't possibly not remember Poison Ivy. Okay, by the Coasters. There's just no way you cannot remember Poison Ivy. I can tell you that right now. Okay, we got the first page there out of the way. Let's move on. Excuse me. Number 8 by Barrett Strong. Another one I'm not familiar with. I'm not familiar too much with Barrett Strong's performances or songs. It was called Money. I know the Beatles sang Money. What was it? Can't give me money, or can't buy me money. Money can't buy me love is something. But Money by Barrett Strong does not ring a bell. This one again rings a big bell with me. Love Potion number 9. You have to remember that. Another one that you cannot forget if you're my age. You're So Fine by the Falcons. The Falcons. Not too familiar with the Falcons. You're So Fine, I'm very familiar with. So that was the 10 of 1959. And we're going to move on to 1960. Okay. And I just feel like breaking out and singing some of these songs because they are so fantastic. Wonderful songs, but I'd get in trouble by YouTube if I even tried. What I might do eventually is have a place where you can go to hear me sing some of these songs and more. In the future, I will, if you're interested, I don't know if you want to hear it or not, but if you're interested, my wife, my fantastic wife, Linda, says I sing really good. So if she says that, I believe her. Wouldn't believe too many other people, but I believe my wife, believe me. So we're moving on to 1960, right? Number one. My wife is saying this on Sing Snap. Will You Love Me Tomorrow by the Shirelles. Beautiful song. Love that song. Will you still love me tomorrow? I wrote down Will You Love Me, and that's not it. It's Will You Still Love Me? Okay. Another Ray Charles song comes in at number 2. Georgia on My Mind. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, this number 3 song is sang by who I believe was the greatest male singer in history. And he sang a lot of songs. This man was very, very class act. What can I say? He was a class act. There was a young lady during that time, must have been around the early 1960s, who was, well, she was going to pass away. And she loved this man. And she loved a lot of his songs. And her dying wish was that this man would come and visit her in Britain. This man's an American. He lived in America. But she wanted to hear him sing to her in person. And you know what he did? He went there and saw her and sang to her in person. And I imagine she was just over the moon. If he had come to sing to me in person, I would never, ever forget it. I would remember the date, time, everything. Only the Lonely by Roy Orbison. What a man. What a voice. What a performer. Now, he had his own style. I agree with you. He did have his own style. He didn't shake the pelvis like Elvis the Pelvis. Basically, everybody thought he was blind because he always wore dark glasses. He wasn't blind, but it was part of his act. It was part of his brand, so to speak. If you use today's terminology, it was part of his brand. Roy Orbison, my favorite singer even today. And I don't think anybody will ever replace him, at least for me. Number 4, now this is a song I never heard of before, and might have heard of the group. Let's Go, Let's Go, Let's Go by Hank Ballard. I never heard of Hank Ballard. And the Midnighters. Now, I think I've heard of the Midnighters before, but I'm not really that well versed on remembering a name like the Midnighters, so I don't know. Well versed. I don't recall the Midnighters that well. It rings a bell, just not sticking. One of the songs that I loved all my life is number 5. I didn't know the name of the person who sang it. I should have, because, well, I guess I was too busy singing it and too busy listening to it to pay attention to who actually performed it. But it was by a person named Maurice Williams and the Zodiacs. Maurice Williams and the Zodiacs, called Stay. Very, very good song. Here's an individual that I grew up loving every bit of his music. along with a lot of other artists. This man had a history. He was in the news quite a bit. Unfortunately, it wasn't good news all the time. But Chain Gang by Sam Cooke. Sam Cooke was a tremendous singer and a very good performer. Many, many, many good songs. And another song that's well familiar to me anyway is Save the Last Dance for Me. It's by the Drifters. Remember the Drifters? Save the Last Dance for Me. Beautiful, wonderful performance song. This is by another black artist that I absolutely, my wife is from Detroit, Motown, and I love all that came out of Motown, and I still do. I grew up listening to the artists. I sang their songs so many times in my head. Just wonderful, wonderful memory benders nowadays that came out of Motown. And one of my favorite that came out of Motown was the Miracles, and it was Shop Around, and just a wonderful, wonderful, terrific song that just never leaves you. Shop around. His mama told him, you shop around. Don't get, Don't get stuck on the very first love that you might have in your heart. Shop around. Go out and play the market a little bit. Have some fun. And shop around. Okay. This one I think most everybody knows, even today, by another black artist, Chubby Checker, The Twist. The dance that my wife and I grew up doing from a very, very young age, The Twist. Okay, last but not least, from two brothers who I think on my top 10 performers and singers and music artists of all time. That's the Everly Brothers. They sang a ton of songs, and I could just sit there and listen to them all day. Like all the other songs that I say are just listed, except for, a couple, like the Midnighters and what was the other one? Hank Ballard. I'd have to go online and look them up because I'm not really familiar with those people. But I just might do that and get back with you and say, hey, you know what? I do recall that song, and I apologize for not remembering. I look at myself, as I'm taping this, and I can't believe what I'm seeing. Age is a man-eater. It will eat you up and spit you out, and if you're not ready for it, you better be ready, because I don't look anything like I used to. I don't feel like I'm looking at myself now, but I'll tell you what, it's a shocker. I never realized, I don't feel what I'm seeing. I think there's probably a lot of people my age who probably would look at themselves and go, what happened? But let me tell you, you hit your 20s and your 30s and your 40s, and then it just, boom, you're in your late 60s. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But there it is. Just be prepared for it. Believe me, you best be prepared for it. And finally, but not least, like I said, was Kathy's Clown by the Everly Brothers. So there you go. That's what I wanted to cover today. I hope this video finds everyone out there blessed, having a blessed day, having a blessed life. I hope only good, positive things come to you. I'll tell you this one thing. You can get caught up in stinking thinking, and you don't want to do that. You want to accentuate the positive. Take the positives, blow them up, and remember those, grab onto those, hold on to those, and stop the stinking thinking. Don't let anybody get you to change from being a positive person that grabs onto life and hangs on and enjoys every minute, because you don't know. Of course, you probably heard this a million times. You don't know if you're going to be here tomorrow. I don't know if I am. Nobody knows. So grab onto today. Savor today. Okay. I can't remember that saying. Capture the day. Seize the day. I think it was. Seize the day. And that is a very good saying. Seize the day. Do not let it seize you. So if you have any negativity in there, take it and put it in the basement. Put it in a storage bin. Dig a big hole. Put it in the hole. Fill it full of cement. Forget about it. Just totally forget about it. And just try to be happy. Try to grasp on to everything that you see that is good. And stay away from negative people and negative things. Okay. Anyway, I think that's enough for today. We're getting close to our 25-minute cutoff anyway, and very, very close. So I'm going to bid you adieu. Only the good things in life, and may God bless. Until next time, goodbye.